Hey there, it's Casey. I'm here at TaxSaleAcademy.com, and thank you for joining me for this week's tax sale question segment. Now, before we get to this week's question, I want to remind you we post multiple tax sale training videos every single week. So go ahead, hit that red subscribe button. That way you subscribe to our channel right here on YouTube so you don't miss out on future tax sale training videos. All right, this week's question comes to us from Tanisha. Tanisha asked, what happens to all the stuff left inside of a tax auction house? Tanisha, first off, thank you so much for your question. All right, so you go to an auction, you buy a house, you get that deed, you're super excited because you got it at a fantastic price. You load all of your tools up into your vehicle, you drive over there because you want to start the remodel, you want to start ripping carpet out today. The only issue is, whenever you get to that property, you open that doorknob, you walk in, and you're like, whoa. A hoarder used to live here. There is junk everywhere. I've heard stories before where it's taking 4 roll-off dumpsters to get rid of the former owner's junk. That's 4 huge dumpsters like you see at construction sites. That's a lot of junk. So what do you do with it? Well, that's the interesting part. In just about all states, you actually don't own any of that personal property inside the house. That's right, you bought that house at a tax sale auction, and it's now serving as free storage for the former owner's junk. So what happens? Can you just throw all their stuff away? You probably wish you could, but it's not quite that easy. Now, you certainly could go ahead and throw it away, but legally speaking, you probably are not allowed to. When the county forecloses on a piece of property due to the delinquent taxes, or you foreclose the tax lien that you own, you are only foreclosing on the real property. That means the real estate and anything that is permanently attached to it, like the actual physical house and what's attached to that, like ceiling fans, lights, cabinets, stuff like that. All the junk that was left inside, you did not foreclose on that. That belongs to the former owner. And what about that Corvette they left in the garage? That doesn't belong to you either. So let's first discuss vehicles, since they're usually the easiest to deal with. I'm talking about vehicles like cars, trucks, even boats, tractors, that kind of stuff. And they're typically going to have a title attached to them. Again, most of the junk, most of the personal property in the house is not going to have a title, but vehicles usually will. In that situation, I would contact the local law enforcement agency and simply ask them how they handle abandoned vehicles. More than likely, they'll give you the name of a tow company. And what you'll do is you'll call them, explain the situation, and let them deal with it. That vehicle is not yours, and it will never be yours. It's a completely different set of laws, and you don't want to go through that headache. So call the tow company, let them deal with it, get rid of the vehicle, and get rid of that headache. All right, personal property. That's a little bit more difficult to deal with. Your state's laws are going to dictate what you must do with personal property. And it really varies from one state to the next. And we're going to discuss a few of the requirements of the various states momentarily. But one thing that I really want you to remember is that you are dealing with personal property. You are dealing with somebody's belongings. And you need to do it in a manner that's not going to get you sued. Just because it looks like junk to you does not mean that there isn't one single piece of paper, one piece of art, one family heirloom, or whatever it is that the former occupants find extremely valuable. And maybe it really is valuable. I don't know. Mostly it's going to be all junk, but you never know. And you must protect yourself just in case there's one single piece of paper that's worth something in all of that trash. The first thing that I would do is I would very, very carefully enter that property, and I would take lots and lots of pictures. I would take pictures of everything in every single room from multiple angles. Imagine yourself standing in a courtroom while you're being sued for destroying somebody's property, trying to explain yourself. The more pictures that you have from the very first moment you see their stuff, the easier that explanation is going to be. After that, you need to check your state's laws. It's time to give your local real estate attorney a call and figure out what is next in your specific state. And again, every single state has different laws. Let me go over just a few of them to give you an idea about what exists when it comes to dealing with personal property. So in some states, The solution is to file an eviction or a writ of possession. This goes through the court system. And this is not necessarily to evict occupants like humans from the house, although that's usually the primary purpose, but it's usually used in these areas to serve as a court action to provide you with solutions for handling that personal property. So even if the house is vacant, there's nobody living there right now, you can still file an eviction and a writ of possession in some states, which will give you the ability to have the law on your side when it comes to dealing with personal property. It basically tells you what you're now able to do with it once that judge signs off on the eviction or the writ of possession. You're basically covered by the courts, provided of course that you follow the stipulations when it comes to dealing with that personal property. Now, many other states will require that you make an effort to track down the owners of that personal property and provide them with the opportunity to come and pick it up. In some states, you really have to put forth a diligent effort to track them down. So for example, if the owner is deceased, you can't just throw your hands up and say, well, that owner's dead, so they obviously don't want that property. No, instead, you need to track down whoever is responsible for handling the estate of that deceased person, and then provide them with that notice and the ability to claim the property. Other states will allow you to simply publish an ad in the local newspaper about the abandoned property for a couple of weeks, then that will be sufficient. Now, on top of notifying them, some states also require you store the property for an extended period of time. I'm talking 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks to give them the opportunity to claim it. Yes, you can charge reasonable storage fees if they do come back and claim it in some areas, but delaying your flip for a few $100s as a storage fee is probably not all that desirable for you. But you do need to keep this in mind from day one if you suspect that a property is going to be full of garbage prior to your purchase. Other states do allow you to just move the property to the curb the moment you gain access. Now, that is one of the more aggressive manners, so be sure you follow the law exactly and you know whether or not your state allows that. In other situations, I've seen where they have thresholds. Personal property worth up to $500 in value can be tossed. Or if it's worth more than $500 in value, you must go through the entire noticing and storage process. Now, something to note there, that $500 value, that could be subjective. It could also be something hidden in all that junk. One deceased celebrity's autograph might be hidden in that stack of papers that's worth $500. So don't get yourself into a bind simply because you thought everything was worthless when in fact there was some value there. The point of all of this is just to let you know that the laws surrounding abandoned property vary greatly from one state to the next. It's so crucial that you take the time to learn these laws, and most importantly, that you follow these laws exactly. Many times, in fact, most of the times, you're dealing with just junk that nobody will come back and claim. Other times, however, you're dealing with somebody else's property that is very valuable to them. And whether it is valuable on a monetary scale or maybe just sentimental reasons, it's valuable to them. And they might sue you if you throw all their stuff away and if you violate state laws. So if you fail to follow the law precisely, there's also going to be a chance that when they sue you, they will win. Okay, so keep that in mind. And then suddenly all that junk you threw out is cost you thousands and thousands of dollars in damages. So be proactive in protecting yourself and always make sure that you know and follow your state's laws. If this is something that concerns you, call a real estate attorney. Have a 1-hour consult with them and get all the requirements that you need. Put them down on a list, exactly what you need to do step by step when it comes to dealing with that abandoned personal property. All right, so I really hope this video has helped you out. If you have a follow-up question, Tanisha, feel free to leave it underneath this video, or anybody else watching this video. If you have a question, feel free to leave it underneath this video or any of our other videos right here on YouTube. And if we can help in any manner, there are a whole bunch of links down below in the video description, including one to our primary website at taxsaleacademy.com. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.